Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of Criterion Club. I'm Bernard, a writer at Way Too Indie, and joining me today, as always, is CJ Prince, another writer at Way Too Indie.
Hello. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, we started that. We started this. This is our second time starting this. I don't know what is it, podcast, a hangout.
Hangout,
First time
yeah.
was just a train wreck. This one's not so much. We haven't got completely off the rails yet, but
Yeah.
welcome. We're glad to have you guys back for Criterion Club, our favorite club ever. But anyway,
You can't do it.
anyways, Criterion Club is a club or a show on way2indie.com in which me and CJ talk about everything Criterion Collection, the best collection of movies in the world as far as we're concerned. And this week we're going to start things off by telling you guys about the newly announced releases for February 2015 from the Criterion Collection. What have they announced, CJ?
Well, this month, they announced the February titles, and I think this one is kind of crazy. I think every single title here is like a major cinematic legend. So first off, you got Every Man for Himself by Jean-Luc Godard. Then you have A Day in the Country by Jean Renoir, which is a 41-minute movie apparently. Then you have Don't Look Now by Nicholas Roeg. An Autumn Afternoon by Yasujiro Ozu. Fellini Satyricon by Federico Fellini, of course, and finally, I think the most surprising inclusion,
Yes.
it's animated, and Criterion doesn't really do animated movies, Watership Down by Martin Rosen.
Yeah, it's a great lineup. I'm looking forward to checking all these out. You and I haven't really seen many of these movies.
Yeah.
Actually, we've only seen one, or I've only seen one.
I've seen none.
Yeah. But that's great. I mean, that's what the Criterion Collection's for. It's so that these great movies don't kind of get lost in time. And I think I say that every episode because you and I have never seen any of these.
No, we always. It's like every month it's just like shit. Now we got like 5-6 movies in our queue.
But a few things to say about this really great lineup for February, which I'm probably going to pick up a few of these. Don't Look Now. This is the one that I have seen by Nick Roeg. It's a really mesmerizing thriller, horror movie. Of course, famous for its twist at the end of the film. Have you been spoiled, CJ?
Yes, I have been spoiled. I'm aware of the ending.
It's a great ending. So for anyone watching this, if you haven't seen Don't Look Now, don't look up spoilers. Like, go watch it. It's amazing. It's an amazing, really poignant twist ending. That's not a twist for twist's sake. Also, we've got Yasujiro Ozu's final film here, right? Is that correct?
The final film. Yep.
Yeah, An Autumn Afternoon. I love Ozu. He's one of my favorite. I don't know if he's one of my favorite. Okay, so we talk about who our favorite filmmakers are and who the best filmmakers are, and there's a distinction, right? Like, there's a big difference. And I wouldn't say he's one of my favorites, but I appreciate him. I appreciate him more than Kurosawa, actually. I prefer Ozu, even though their movies are nothing alike. Nothing alike. I brought here today to share with the club Late Spring, one of my favorite movies.
Yes.
Really terrific movie. Even on the cover here, if you guys can see, there's just shots from the film, because that's all you really need to show from Ozu. His compositions are his greatest strength, of course, his kind of solemn, immaculately conceived compositions and images. One of the final lines in this film is one of my favorites in movie history. I'll let you guys discover that one on your own. But Late Spring by Ozu, and I also brought to share with y'all, y'all meaning you,
Y'all. Apparently you're in. Yes.
Club. Is a film by Nicholas Roeg, who did Don't Look Now, of course. His first film, right? Or maybe second film?
I don't know if it was his first film or not.
Walkabout. One of my absolute favorites, really. Beautiful movie. Kind of visually, if you're not familiar with Roeg, this movie is it's pretty similar visually to like Terrence Malick or those kind of like painterly nature obsessed
Yeah,
filmmakers.
yeah,
You've seen this one, right, CJ?
yeah. I have seen Walk. I actually didn't care for. I'm not anti-Rogue. I like Rogue's film, but I actually was not big on Walkabout. I kind of sat there and I was on. Honestly, I was kind of bored by it. But it scored like it does look gorgeous. That's obvious. The one movie I always point to for like one they really like by Nick Rogue, which a lot of people I guess don't point to exactly, and I really hope Criterion puts it on Blu-ray one day. Is Bad Timing, the one with was it Garfunkel or no? Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, I think it was Garfunkel as the guy with the tumultuous relationship and the crazy nonlinear editing going on there. And I'm a huge fan of that movie. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you've seen Bad Timing or not.
I have not. I know very little about it actually.
Yeah, it's on DVD. It's Criterion, but
I
no.
learned more about it in the last 10 seconds than I knew beforehand.
Oh wow, yeah, I should see. I forget, but yeah, it's the curly-haired guy from Simon and Garfunkel.
That's Garfunkel.
Yeah, so it's Garfunkel. But no, it's great, and yeah, I think it's a great movie, and I guess I'm surprised because when people bring up Rogue, they don't bring that one up often, and I've always been a big fan of it. But anyway.
Well, okay, so people, all of you Criterion Club hopefuls out there who are watching this, you'll kind of see a pattern where CJ thinks he's surprised that people don't like the obscure films that he loves. He's surprised that and he's surprised that people love the films that he hates. So this will be a running pattern.
So contrarian. Just every time I watch a movie, I have to find out what other people think, because then I have to do the opposite.
And do the opposite.
That's how I form my opinions.
Just for fun.
Yeah, I was like, what everyone think of The Godfather? They're like, I loved it. I'm like, oh well, I hated it.
Yeah, you gotta hate it now. Of course, I'm joking. We love CJ on the site because he typically gives us all a new perspective on things. Even though we both agreed on Whiplash, which is quickly becoming. This is so unrelated, but Whiplash is becoming one of my front runners for best of the year. It really is.
It is. It's for me like I actually saw it again this week. I saw it a second time. My city was playing it in this little film program. I dragged a friend out, and even she didn't want to go, and then she was like, "That was great." But yeah, like I was thinking, like I was telling you before, like do you think Whiplash would be considered like Criterion worthy?
So let's get into it, CJ.
Yeah.
This is our topic of the day. What are some of the great films from 2014 that we think deserve the Criterion treatment and would be a great disc to own one day? I think Whiplash is top contender for me.
Yeah. Whiplash, yeah, I think it's a great film. It would easily belong on there, and I mean, for God's sakes, if they're going to put Lena Dunham on there, they can put a young filmmaker like Damien Chazelle. But that's just me. Yeah, there are a lot of. I mean, I know Dustin, our big boss, disagrees. He thinks that 2014 has been a pretty bad year for movies, but I think it's been really good.
Depends on how you look at it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's as far if you want like a big sweeping, excellent big budget picture, you're not going to find one. This is a pretty kind of indie-centric year. This year, I think the front runners in the Oscar race all are pretty much either independent films or have that independent art house flavor to them.
Exactly.
Even like look at all the front. I mean, Foxcatcher could easily see that in the Criterion Collection.
I haven't seen it. Yeah, Boyhood will be going in the Criterion Collection. They've already said it will.
I thought it's not.
It's kind of like what they did with like Wes Anderson films. Like it gets a regular release, and then down the line, Criterion eventually releases it with their own stuff. So I've been. Dustin again, yeah. Dustin kept asking me, he's like, why haven't they announced Boyhood yet? And I'm like, I think they're going to do that because I know Paramount or someone is distributing it on Blu-ray and DVD. So it will come out on Criterion. Like Richard Linklater has said it will be on Criterion someday. So it will be.
I can't wait for that. That disc is going to be fantastic. I love that movie too. That one would be a great Criterion disc. Well, it is going to be, so I'm excited for that. Whiplash, I hope gets picked up. I'm sure Criterion has their eye on it. They can't not, right?
I don't know, because it's Sony Pictures Classics, so they do their own thing.
Oh god, they do their own thing.
Yeah, so, but maybe, maybe one day, maybe depending on time. Obviously, this is a lot of movies, they take a long time before they come out on Criterion. You rarely get new releases, so we're just, doing hypotheticals here. I think if we want to look at like um, old familiars, people who have been on the Criterion Collection, you can immediately point to, Only Lovers Left Alive, the Jim Jarmusch one. Like he's probably, I feel like someday that's going to end up on
Shoe
Criterion.
in. Yeah,
Yeah,
shoe in.
because it's, Linklater is the obvious other one. 2 Days, One Night should, because
Fantastic film.
yeah, it's the Dardenne.
Dardenne brothers.
There was this guy, a critic, who said like the running joke with Dardenne films is like every movie comes out and they're like, "What'd you think?" And the person's like, "Yawn, another masterpiece." They're just so consistent. And it's just kind of reaching a point where you're getting like tired. You're like, oh, like they made another great movie. that's what they do. So, I mean, yeah, IFC released The Kid with a Bike through Criterion as well. So I won't be surprised that they're going to do that as well.
That's another shoe-in as well. Just put Cotillard's face on that packaging, and you've got yourself a big seller.
Exactly. Just a big image of her crying.
That's the ticket.
And begging for her job.
Cotillard's big, beautiful face. Just slap it on everything, even if she's not in the movie. Slap it on Watership Down.
Yeah, just a big animated, like her face on a rabbit's body. Or Watership Down. Just Cotillard's face. But she could sell it. She could sell anything. She could play a rabbit.
Yeah.
She could play a cartoon rabbit. It's not physically possible, but if she can do it, she could do
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a joke. I mean,
I actually, to go to Watership Down, I'm actually excited to see that one because I have seen a bit of Watership Down on TV when I was a kid. They play it like late at night. I remember I was like maybe like 9. I still remember like this is strange because it was so not like any animated film I was watching when I was 9. Obviously, whatever my parents decided I would watch at that age, but that's one I'm actually looking forward to greatly. But before, actually, I want to bring this up because since Godard is coming out this February,
read my mind, CJ.
And I feel like we should talk about a movie we both seen. I think we're the only two on the site who have seen this movie, which is Godard's latest.
He's
Goodbye
alive?
to Language 3D. Yes.
He's not dead?
No. He made Goodbye to Language. You didn't know that he was alive when he made Goodbye to Language? I know. I'm joking. I'm trying to play into the bit.
I fell off. I sank the ship.
No, I sank the ship. I'm the iceberg. Yeah,
Goodbye to Language 3D, and that's, I don't know. Okay, this is an interesting question, CJ.
Yeah.
Can Criterion release it as a Criterion disc?
It depends. I mean, if you're going by the general, like, just generally, yes, they would release it because they love Godard and would release everything they can by him.
They would, but can they?
Because of the 3D?
Yes, let's talk about this. So the movie
they already have
3D.
They already have. They released Pina by Wim Wenders.
No, but this is different because, okay, this is what I want to talk about. There are shots in Goodbye to Language 3D.
Yeah.
Which, they're just...
You can't do in 2D.
Explain there's no plot to Goodbye to Language, so I'm not even going to get into what the movie's about.
No.
But, there are whiffs of themes and stuff like that. It's very, whatever, new wave. And there are shots where one eye is being fed a different image than another eye. Now, the way I understand it, home 3D does not work like that.
Oh, really?
That you cannot give a completely different image to one eye and a completely different one to the... Maybe I'm wrong. Perhaps I'm wrong, because I've never done it. I've never watched 3D at home. I know Pino was released in 3D. But from what I understand, the 3D tech that they actually use for home viewing in 3D is different than the one they use in the theater.
See, I'm not aware of that.
Maybe I'm wrong, and I'm sound like an idiot to people who are yelling at the screen right now.
Jean-Luc Godard is watching, and he's very disappointed.
Yeah, but what did you think about those shots? Because there are shots where, like, I reviewed the movie on the site. Go check out the review. And there's a shot where a man and a woman are talking, and then the woman walks away, and one eye follows the woman, and one eye stays with the man, and the image splits.
Yeah.
But you're seeing these kind of overlapping images in your eyes because our eyes aren't meant to do that. So what did you think of those?
I think, yeah, I saw it at the Toronto Film Fest. I did a capsule review for it, and yeah, I feel like the movie is very. This is actually more accessible Godard than in recent years, but I think it's because you can just sit down and enjoy the 3D and the way he
Right.
uses it. Um, Enjoy is a subjective term in this case, but but I enjoyed it. Yeah, I find that kind of stuff. It's very interesting. It's a very neat effect. I'm not a huge fan of Godard. I think he's especially with a movie like By Language. I think he's a director that has plenty of ideas. It's just he doesn't really use them in any way that I find interesting or enjoyable. Um, but he has fine. But his ideas are fine. I just think I need a little more than that. Yeah, I think it's a very neat effect. It is hard to describe, like you have to see it for yourself. I'm glad he made a movie that you actually can only see in theaters in 3D. Like literally, that's the thing. You can't watch it because the 3D is so inherent to everything. Like that type of stuff will not
It's
translate.
crucial. It's crucial to the experience, and I mean, it was, to be honest, those shots that I was talking about gave me a headache. They were just awful. But one thing that I mentioned they were just terrible. I mean, I wanted to vomit. It was so bad. But then the cool thing that I talk about in my review is that at one point, so we're back to that image
Yeah.
where one eye's on the man, one eye's on a woman in a different place. And I began editing the film myself in a way in that I kept closing one eye and opening the other and kind of cutting back and forth. I'm not sure whether that was intended for us to do. What do you think, CJ?
Oh, I think it was intended. I mean, Godard, he absolutely. I am 100% sure that he purposely did that. He wanted the idea of like, he probably realized that, you have two different cameras, so you can capture two different images, one for one eye, one for the other, and you can, choose your own shot essentially. And it's a neat effect. He does use so he doesn't use it. I think he uses it like once or twice more, that specific effect. But he does this like thing that also drove me nuts. And I love that this is like Godard, where we can say like, I wanted to throw up, I hated it. Like that's Godard. Like, but the thing is, he will do a scene. It's not a moving camera, stationary, but he'll have one of the cameras slightly off angle from the other. So the
Right.
whole time the scene is playing out, like it looks so weird. And then and I realize I close one eye, I'd be like, oh, like he's just slightly adjusted one camera so they're not perfectly even. And I remember I was saying that he's a little he's a brat for doing that because I like my OCD side is kicking in. I'm what's going on? What's wrong with this? And then he must have like taken the right camera, just moved it like slightly, like maybe like an inch.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
I think that's his whole. I think he tried. It's about sensations when you watch Godard, especially his latest work. It's kind of about stimulating all the senses you use, your eyes and your ears,
Hmm.
when you watch movies. And I actually found, even though I didn't. I mean, to say I didn't enjoy a Godard film is not even a critique, because I don't think he's meant
No,
to make an enjoyable film. It's too
no.
late. It's a weird thing to say, but what I would say is that when I was closing one eye and opening the other and editing, it was a new movie experience which you never find
Yeah.
ever. So it was a revelation to me. And I thought it was brilliant. And I thought those things where he sets one camera off a little bit, I think that is just to disquiet you and remind you that
Yeah.
this is an experiential thing, and he doesn't want you to settle. He's always waking you up with loud sounds or quick cuts or disturbing imagery or
Exactly.
farts.
Farts. Lots of farts.
Lots of farts.
Philosophical discussions and while farting. And I mean, like, yeah, I mean that's Godard. He's taking a bomb to cinema and he's trying to break it apart and show that like there are no limits and you can do whatever the hell you want. And he wants to deliberately rail against. Yeah, to put it all pretentiously, like he's trying to open up the possibilities of cinema. And yes, I'm aware of that, but is it just I like I said, it's ideas. I just see his films. I'm like there's an idea of this, an idea of that, but that's not enough for me with the films. I'd like to actually out of the I think I've seen 5 Godard films. I haven't seen them much. I've seen like 5, but that's probably my favorite one out of what I've seen. I did enjoy
Wow.
the aesthetics plenty. Like I enjoy the 3D a lot. Like the depth, like the scenes where like by the lake and stuff, and like the depth he gets out of that is like it's straining my eyes to see how like intense he made the depth of those images. I'd watch the movie again if I could see it again in 3D, like in theaters.
And everybody at home on your laptops, you are again seeing this pattern emerge where CJ dislikes one of the greatest filmmakers
I don't
alive.
dislike him. Let's put it that way. I don't dislike. I'm not a particular fan of his. I am completely aware.
Yeah. Yeah. We get it. So,
Like
oh,
I
I think
said,
I blew up my camera. Oh, okay, and we're
you're
back.
fine. You're fine.
So yeah,
You
Godard
can handle it.
sucks, and
Yeah,
the movie deserve. But I think, in all honesty, all honesty, I think it would be interesting to see Criterion take on
I would like
by
it.
the language 3D. I
I
think that'd
like
be
it, but
great.
it's going to be very hard. I'm very like Kino Lorber has it for distribution. I'm very curious to see how they're going to handle home video release because you just can't do it in 2D. You can't like
It's
it's
impossible.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah.
So
So moving on, what are some other films that you would say from this year that you would like to see as a Criterion release?
oh god, I feel like my picks are going to be geared more towards yes, falling into that trap again of myself, but films that I feel like deserve exposure, filmmakers that deserve more exposure, and Criterion would help that. I am becoming more and more of a fan of Lav Diaz, the Filipino filmmaker, and his film that came out this year, Norte: The End of History, is that epic 4-hour take on crime and punishment, and it's one of my favorite movies of the year. I really
Okay.
liked it. I did a review for it on the site way back when it came out, I think in the spring, and Cinema Guild released it, but they only released it on DVD because they said that because of the length of the movie, it was too cost prohibitive to even do it on Blu-ray.
Wow.
Yeah, because you're packing a 4-hour, 10-minute movie on one Blu-ray, and they'd have to include features and all that, so they just put on DVD only, which is unfortunate. But I mean, if anyone has the chance to check it out, like please check it out because Love Diaz, yes, his movies are long, but they're not like grueling experiences. He has a narrative, he has a story. It just takes its time. So I think yeah, I would love a Criterion or any like really, but Criterion would be great if they could take his films and try and find a platform for it because I think they deserve um, more of an audience. Although obviously, because of the length, it's going to turn a lot of people away.
Yeah, I am a terrible Filipino boy because I've not seen it. I wish there were more Filipino people in media. Period. It
Yeah.
kind of drives me insane. It's hard. It's a hard thing, and maybe we could. It's a topic we can talk about another time. But the low visibility of many minorities
Hmm.
in media is just something that's been really kind of at the forefront of my thinking lately. But anyways, moving on. I think my favorite film of the year still. I think though Whiplash is getting up there, Under the Skin, which
Yeah.
I would love a Jonathan Glazer's movie, and I would love to see a Criterion release of that. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson, of course, stars as the predatorial female lead in that one. It's just a fascinating movie. I visually, it just blew me away. And I think like you and I have had a conversation about this, and you called it the most Kubrickian movie since Kubrick.
I got that. Yeah, that was like my initial reaction. When I saw it last year at the premiere, like at the Toronto when it premiered at the Toronto Film Fest. North American, sorry, that's like the stickler in me. Um, it premiered at Venice, but anyway, I mean, I saw it again, and I didn't care for it the first. Well, I didn't care for it. I had issues with it the first time. I thought those issues are still there, but I gained a little more admiration for it the second time. Yeah, I'm not like a huge fan. I'm not. I keep saying I'm not a huge fan of, but yeah, I mean, I'm not
What
gaga
are
over
you a
it.
fan of, CJ? What are you a fan?
Well, as we talked about last time, my favorite movie of the year, which is Stray Dogs by Simon Liang,
Talk
which is
about Stray Dogs. Talk about this big blockbuster, exciting.
yes, oh yes, Simon Liang, one of my favorite directors working today. Although he's retired, but he made another movie since Stray Dogs, so I don't know what his status is. But yeah, Stray Dogs, which is it's just over it's 2.5 hours or just under 2.5 hours, and he's a director that specializes in, yes, the very generic slow cinema definition. His shots will go on for ages, but he has these gorgeous compositions, these gorgeous. Formally, he's masterful like crazy. What I love about Stray Dogs is the ending of that movie, the final two shots, which take up about a half hour, and there are two shots, and that I saw it in the theater, and it was like I don't like no experience at all since has matched that watching those scenes happen. It's this kind of like holy shit, like I'm seeing something completely different and crazy and whatnot. I know you like the movie. I don't know if you felt that way about the ending. There are even at that I remember there were walkouts during that. I'm like, it's the ending.
Yeah, I can't even front on you on this one. I've been giving you a hard time, but that is one of my favorite movies of the year as well.
Yeah.
It's just much like Godard. I think he pushes the boundaries of the medium, and I'm thankful. I'm really thankful for filmmakers like that. Even if they make movies that I don't like, and I wouldn't recommend. I'm glad they're here. You know,
exactly. That's why I can't hate. I can't hate on movies like Under the Skin. I can't hate on movies like Godard movies. I'm not a fan of Malick, but I can't hate on his movies because
you're not a fan of Terrence Malick. Okay, people, you're seeing this emerge.
Yeah.
You're seeing this.
That's it.
Malick.
That's it. Not a big. Not Malick's not my
Kurosawa,
bad.
as you saw on the last episode.
I like Stray Dog. I like Stray Dog.
Oh, the prequel to Stray Dog.
Yes, the prequel where the dogs. I don't. They moved to Taiwan. But no, I mean, Malick's, that could be a whole other discussion about Malick. Although it's really simple. He's just, I don't know, he's never been my bag. But I think we need more movies like that. We need more filmmakers that are, going to places that other films are not going, because that's where you're going to find out ways to approach filmmaking in different lights and more interesting or exciting ways. And so I can't, like I said this to someone. I said, I wasn't a big fan of Under the Skin when I saw it, but I can't hate on it because I would love it if more people made movies like Under the Skin, or they tried that. There's a saying. I've mentioned this a lot. Andrea Arnold was at Cannes, and she was being interviewed, and she talked about Post to Neighbor's Locks, which is the Regados movie from years ago, and she said she loved the movie. And they asked why, and she said, "I loved it because it dared to fail."
Right.
And I love bringing up that term now. I love movies that dare to fail. Like they try to go out there, and they may fail, but by going out there, you may find something that you're not going to find.
And you know what? And they're movies like that, to me, are more valuable than movies that I enjoy more.
Exactly.
But are not as risky.
I get upset when movies that piss me off, movies that I hate, are the movies that to me are not doing anything that's interesting. They're just going through the motions, and those movies piss me off. Like my worst movies of the year list usually are the ones that to me they're just boring because they don't try anything different. They don't bring up themes in an interesting way. They just are bland.
Yeah, this is okay. So this is what I want to end the episode with. And it's something that I think about a lot. And it's the word boring. It's the word boring. I never use it. I've never used it in a review. I never use it when I talk about movies.
Yeah.
I hate that word when it comes to discussing film.
Yeah.
I went to this wonderful talk, and I can't remember the guy. It kills me, CJ. I can't remember the guy who gave this lecture, but it was this lecture about movies and the idea that a movie's boring. And I'm not gonna lie, there are some movies where I feel like I'm bored, but I never use the word because I prefer, and this is what I got from this guy who gave this lecture.
No.
I prefer the term that I was not interested.
Yeah.
Because it holds me more culpable as a serious film lover. I think as a film lover, I'm more culpable than that, than to just be sit there and be entertain me. If you don't entertain me, you suck. That's not how I approach movies. I think that as critics, we must not approach movies like that. And we're bored. Boring. Saying you're bored does not tell anybody anything. It doesn't help the conversation. It's more. I'm more interested in why was I not interested? Why was I not engaged?
I think.
Right.
Yeah, I think I mean, people can make boring and uninteresting synonymous with each other. They're fine words, but I mean, you can't. To me, it's like, yeah, I can say those words, but I have to explain. You can't just
Right.
say. You need an explanation if you're going to say that about film. You know why? That's the thing. So yeah, like I was saying, that movies that I feel go through the motions and they're doing stuff that I've seen done before and they're not putting any interesting spin on it. That's boring to me because I've seen it before. Why am I seeing it again? Just with different people and different outfits, costumes, clothes, sets, whatever you want to call it. No, I agree with you. Boring is a term that a lot of people avoid saying that because it is a very,
It's lazy. It's a
it's
lazy
like,
critique.
it's like, I know people they critique the word overrated because they feel that's not a fault of the film, that's a fault of
Right,
people
right.
who watch the film.
That's true.
Um,
That's true.
yeah, and that's a fair point. That's a fair point. I use the word overrated because when I say I am talking about the people who like the movie and not the movie itself.
Right.
What I'm trying to say is I don't like that people love this movie because I don't like it. That's essentially what overrated means.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a fun feature coming up on the site of overrated movies. That's a plug.
Yeah, but CJ, I'm just fascinated with that. I've been thinking about that word boring for
Yeah.
a good 2 years now, and I really despise it. Like I really, whenever I'm talking to anybody, and I'm not calling you out because I actually agree with you. I also have no interest in movies that are going through the motions and don't do or don't try to. Not necessarily do anything new because I've seen movies that just tell like classic stories that are just done really well.
It doesn't mean
and I love them.
it doesn't mean new. You can go over the same things. You just have to do them in a way that's
In your own way.
yeah, in a way that is appealing and interesting, and as there are movies like I always point to The Conjuring from last year or the year before. That's a perfect example. That movie is very cliched. It's a lot of stuff,
Right.
but it is an excellent piece of craftsmanship. Like it's just really really well done. Like that to me is
Yes. Yeah, I
going through the
hate when people, kind of are kind of reductive and say that because a movie's plot is simple, that the movie is simple. That
Yeah.
is not the case because there are other things that can be like The Conjuring. It's the plot is not what's interesting. So what's interesting about The Conjuring? It's the way they present the plot.
Exactly.
The filmmaking, the moments, the way the decisions, the way they choose to move the camera. Just to stay on topic because this has been driving me nuts. The word boring. I think with a lot of movies, I think the reason people don't like art house movies, like in the Criterion Collection, is because these movies and these filmmakers ask of you that you show up, that you meet them halfway. You can't passively watch these things and expect to get the full experience. You have to give a bit of yourself. You have to be patient, especially with like Stray Dogs, movies like that. You really have to give a piece of yourself to get something back. It's an interaction there. Yeah. And I think most of the time, and this is not of what you just said, CJ, but most of the time when people use the word boring, they were not watching the film. They were not participating. They were watching it with their arms folded like this, and they were maybe they thought it was going to be overrated, or they had some preconceived notion of the film. They're on their phone for part of the time. They're doing laundry. I have some critic friends who actually tell me that they watch movies while they're doing other things and then review them, which drives me insane. That really makes me angry. And if you call a movie boring when you fell asleep 15 minutes in, or you went to the bathroom while the movie was still running, then your opinion is worth nothing to me. Nothing. Because you didn't see the movie. You didn't see it.
That's a good way of putting it. It's a good way to put it and say that these are movies where, you have to do more than just watch. Michael Haneke says that he is a filmmaker that he likes films that leave you with questions at the end rather than answer everything for you, and that's what it is. And sometimes there are movies that can simply just bring up a question, bring up some sort of thing, and just by bringing it up and making you aware of it, it's good for that reason alone. It doesn't have to sometimes delve directly into it. It's just by making you aware of it or finding an interesting angle on it. There are, like Simon Lang is a filmmaker. He has no compromises. He has his own very meditative, quiet style, and you either sit there and you can adjust to it and you kind of go with his rhythms, or you don't. That's how I look at it. Like, I love his films because I can totally get into his very specific kind of slow pacing rhythm, whatever you want to call it.
That's a perfect example. Perfect example.
Yeah, like that's why I thought that the way you put it was really good. That it requires more work. I don't. Yeah, there are films where I mean sometimes, and we're not knocking those films that sometimes are just pure pleasure. And
I love movies like that too.
Lego Movie is a very good example of that
Yeah.
from this year. Lego Movie is like you just pure enjoyment, and I loved it. Like yeah, it's just sometimes we like a little challenge. You know.
Yeah, and they're rich experiences. And by the way, I'm not saying that everyone has to just when you watch movies at home, you have to just focus and not do anything. I totally watch movies and go on my phone and check my phone or like go to the kitchen and grab a snack. But I believe if you're going to criticize a movie, either in serious conversation or if you're going to review the movie for a blog or a website, if you have to pay complete attention, because that is the thing that makes movies are, like I always say, movies are magic. They're a magic trick. They're deceiving you into thinking that things on the screen are happening. They're transporting you to another place. That's the only way they work. The only way movies work is if you submit yourself to them and you allow them to take you somewhere else. And if you go to the fucking kitchen and make yourself a grilled cheese and come back to the movie and say the movie sucked, suck my dick.
I actually I've recently started putting my phone in another room when I watch a movie because sometimes it distracts me, because I think it was just disrespectful on the pure level of here's a person who has made this film like maybe have taken years or months or whatever. You have dozens of people, hundreds of people working on it, and you're just like this.
It's terrible. Oh my god!
It's disrespectful on that sense alone. It's a lot of hard work being put on the screen, and it's not considered at all. So I mean, I have, like with my phone, I'd be if I got an email during the movie, I look over and I saw my phone like put a notification up, then I'd want to check it, and I have to go no, I have to put that. So yeah, I put my phone in the other room now when I'm watching a film because I don't want any distraction, and I thought it would be like hard because you get used to it, but then it went out of my mind completely when I started watching the film.
Yeah, you have to give the movie its day in court if you really love film. You don't, and again, you can totally not do that. You don't have to do this if you're watching casually at home, or if you're not like real film lover. Like
you can pause the movie.
Yeah.
If you want to make a grilled cheese, you can pause it.
That is breaking the illusion. It's breaking the illusion of the film.
Well, I'll put it this way. Sometimes, like when I watched the Law of Diaz movie at TIFF that was 5.5 hours long. I had to. My bladder broke the illusion.
Was there an intermission?
No, and here's the worst part. No, that's not even the worst part. They screened it in a theater that did not allow food and drink.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like I was just like who scheduled this? This is the worst. Although Lav Diaz said himself, he says you can gladly come in and out as you please with the movie. He doesn't want to make people feel like they have to. But he said it himself. I know that he says you can do that. But so they were like, yeah, like if you want to just pop out and come back, he's like, go ahead. So, but yeah, no, that was an interesting. Yeah, but I had to. My bladder broke the illusion about 3.5. So yeah, but no, yes, I mean you're bringing a fair point. I mean, that's the ideal way to watch a movie. You don't have. That's why I've become more. I've started to prefer watching films in theater. Like, usually I didn't have like a big preference. I thought, I watch at home. Now I'm like, no, if I can catch in theaters, I want to go catch in the theaters.
Dark room, big screen to kind of take up as much of your peripheral view as possible. Sound that envelops you, and you can feel in your feet.
Interstellar. Which I didn't like, and I didn't. Right. But I was like, no, I saw it in IMAX because I said, I want to see it in the best possible scenario because I got to give it its fair shake. I've just always wanted to see a movie in IMAX. Granted, it was fucking stupid, but I probably feel like I don't know. I feel like my experience would have been much different had I watched it, at home or something compared to there.
Yes, and
go on.
I reviewed Interstellar, and I agree with you. I think I didn't like the movie, but I thought it was, there were good.
It wasn't. What you mean by you didn't like is because it's Nolan, so you have a bit of a standard, and he didn't reach that standard.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, I try to judge films on their own merits. But I know I really I had a lot of big problems with it, but the reason I gave it a 7, which is a recommend, because I wholeheartedly recommend people watch it in the theater, wholeheartedly.
Yeah, it's a very
6 shots. It's worth it. It's worth it.
I mean, I on the other hand, I'd be like, no, I'd say you don't need to, because I was just like, you know what, it's maybe if it was maybe it was 2 hours, not 2 hours and 45 minutes, maybe, but not to say it's just like there was a point where I sat there, I'm like, this movie is a lot longer than it should be. Like there's some points where I was like, what, why, but yeah, I won't, yeah, we won't go into it. So I could, my main reason of hating it is very spoilerish, so I can't say, because there's probably some like nerdy
Well,
Nolan
and this is the
fanboy.
Criterion Club anyway, and we've gotten so far
No,
off the
following is on Criterion, so we can
That's
bring
true.
it up.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true. I think he's one of the, I can't wait till Memento comes out.
I would love it. I would love a Memento Criterion. I like Nolan.
Jesus.
I just on the record, I like Nolan. Interstellar is by far my least favorite of what I've seen.
Me too. Me too.
I'm just saying that it's not like I haven't hate on for Nolan. I actually don't get a lot of the criticisms for Nolan, or they trash him, but I did not like Interstellar. I was very disappointed. But yes. Anyway, putting it back on track. So out of the releases,
We've got so far. It's
out
like,
of the 6 of them, now I'm gonna say out of the 6 of them, what is the one that you would see right away? You've seen 5. You haven't seen 5.
right.
So out of the 5 you haven't seen, what is the one you'd watch? Like if you had them
Like
right in front of you,
first?
pick one to watch the first. Which one would you pick?
You know, it'd probably have to be Ozu. Autumn
Okay.
Afternoon.
Okay. I thought you'd pick Renoir. I would like part of me like I actually would pick Don't Look Now, but like I probably was tempted to pick Renoir because it's only 40 minutes.
Yeah. I love Renoir. I mean, but tell me, okay, so let's end on this. I said I was going to end with the boring thing, but let's end on this because who cares? Like, you know, this is just fun for us. So, now I forget what I was going to say. God damn it. Oh, genre noir. Okay, rules of the game.
Yeah.
Rules of the game. What do you think of Rules of the Game? Which is one of the first Criterion releases.
Here we go. Just hold your, for a callback to the last episode, hold your monocle in place. I have, yeah, I know that's an in joke for the Criterion Club watchers. I have not seen a single Renoir film, so I can't say anything.
That's fine.
Okay, that's fine. I'm very bad with films made before 1970. Like I'm very spotty on that. I need to watch more from pre 1970. But yeah, so Renoir is one of them I obviously have to see. Like there are so many French filmmakers and just filmmakers from pre the classic era, the silent era that I have to watch. And Renoir is on the list.
Renoir. I mean, Rules of the Game is it's an interesting film for me because. It's one that is unbelievable what he accomplishes in that film, even by modern standards. Of course, it's famous for how the tonal shifts that kind of ping-pong around, but somehow he does it smoothly. It's a comedy 1 second and a thriller the next, and then a romance within 1 minute. Like it's ridiculous, and within one shot. It's a wonderful, playful film experience, and. But I really don't love it. I don't have any affection towards it. I don't connect with those characters. I don't get warm fuzzy feelings when I think of Rules of the Game. I think film school when I think Rules of the Game. But it's an astonishing film. I just don't have an affection for it.
You have more admiration than love for it.
Yeah.
Would that be a good way? Yeah.
Yeah, but people say that all the time, though.
Yeah, but I'm just.
It's true. That's totally. It's the best way to put it.
It's a cliche because it's true.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But okay, so this is what we're gonna do now to end the episode for real. This is like Lord of the Rings, where we have like 5 minutes.
Or Whiplash.
2 hours now. But CJ, you last time I didn't fulfill my promise. Last time you inquired that I watch, or you asked me that I watch.
Make Way for Tomorrow by Leo McCarey.
Make Way for Tomorrow.
Yes.
For next episode, I'm going to watch that.
Good.
You know what I need you to watch?
What?
No, wait. Maybe you've already seen it. Maybe you've already. I'm assuming you haven't seen this film because you said you haven't seen many silent films.
Yeah.
Sunrise.
I have not seen
A
Sunrise.
Song of Two Lovers is in my top 3 favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
Watch it on YouTube.
It's
It's on YouTube.
Yeah, but I will. I already have it much. I will get it from the library on Blu-ray.
Hell yeah, do that.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
that's right. That's the thing.
Watch it on Blu-ray. I have to buy the Blu-ray, by the way.
Yeah.
I've only seen it in a theater and on YouTube. So
Yeah.
I have to buy the Blu-ray. I saw it in Barnes & Noble the other day. I almost bought it. I didn't buy it. But yeah, so you watch that. I will watch the title I can't remember for the life of me.
Make Way for Tomorrow.
Make Way for Tomorrow. That's the
You
most
will watch it
incredible
and you will
fucking
love it,
title.
and then you will remember
Make Way
it
for Tomorrow.
because it's incredible. It blew me away. I was like wow. I like I told you before, I have a bias towards older films because I always felt like classical filmmaking was more simplistic filmmaking, which is a very bad thought I had from many years ago, and I've been breaking that. And yeah, I mean, like watching it, I was amazed at how devastating and funny and just human that movie is.
Where can we find it? Where can we find it?
It is on DVD on Criterion. So go. There's a Barnes & Noble sale right now, 50% off. Go get the DVD. If you're a stickler for Blu-ray and you have a region-free player, get it from the UK because Eureka has it on Blu-ray, but the DVD from Criterion is just fine. So yeah, it's on DVD.
Okay, so all you guys watching on your monitors, I'm sure you stuck around the whole time.
Yeah,
I'm sure you stuck around for this whole conversation, and me and CJ's conversation is not going to be lost in the void.
And if you call this conversation boring, suck our dick.
Fuck you, suck my dick.
Yeah.
So you guys watch along too. So you guys at home find Make Way for Tomorrow and watch Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans. It's Two Humans. I said lovers earlier.
Yeah, lovers.
It's Two Humans.
Sure.
And God, my top 3 favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
I got the name wrong. Like Claire Deneuve, my favorite actress.
Claire Deneuve.
Catherine Deneuve, yeah. So you guys at home watch Sunrise and Make Way for Tomorrow, and we'll talk about it next time. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm Bernard. Follow me at BJBoo on Twitter. And CJ, where can they find you on Twitter?
On Twitter at CJ_PRIN.
Thank you guys for joining us. Way2indie.com. We got a lot of stuff going on there on the site. Really, we're kind of pushing the content as hard as we ever have.
We're
ramping up, especially at the end of the year. We're gonna have a lot of cool features for you coming up, and we'll see you on there, guys. See you next time. Bye.
Yeah. Bye bye.